Today we're going to order decimals in order from least to greatest. So you'll notice our first set of decimals, or numbers, on the left side, we have 7 and 25 hundredths, 4 and 5 tenths, 6 and 5 tenths, 6, 5 and 5 tenths, and then 8 and 75 hundredths. So you're going to notice that each number ends in a different decimal place. Okay, some have no decimals because there's 0 hundredths or 0 tenths. Some have end in the hundredths place and some end in the tenths place. So if we're going to organize them from least to greatest, we could go ahead and plot them on a number line and then just read them in order from left to right, and there's going to be our order from least to greatest. Another way to do it is to simply look at the number that has the most decimal places and then include 0 placeholders for all the numbers that don't have numbers to that decimal place. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite these numbers so that they are all ending in the hundredths place. And then I can go ahead and easily organize them from least to greatest. So the first one, 7 and 25 hundredths, already ends in the 25 hundredths, or in the hundredths place, excuse me. 4 and 5 tenths doesn't, so we know that we can go ahead and end in the hundredths place by simply adding a 0 after the 5. So it's really 4 and 50 hundredths, because that's the same thing as 4 and 5 tenths. 6 and 50 hundredths, 6 and 0 hundredths, 5 and 50 hundredths, and then 8 and 75 hundredths already ends in the hundredths place. Okay? When you're organizing numbers, or decimals for that matter, make sure you have the same number of numbers in your new list as you had in the original so that you don't miss a number. Okay? So we should have 6 numbers, and we have 6 numbers. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and organize them from least to greatest, but I am going to write down their original number here. So the smallest value would be our 4 and 50 hundredths. So 4 and 50 hundredths, remember, is the same thing as 4 and 5 tenths. Okay, and then I'm going to check it off. The next smallest number is going to be 5 and 50 hundredths. So we have 5 and 5 tenths, which is the same thing, because that was in our original list. Then we have 6 and 0 hundredths, or 6. Our next smallest is 6 and 5 tenths, which is the same thing as 50 hundredths. And then we have 7 and 25 hundredths, and 8 and 75 hundredths is our largest. So this list is in order from least to greatest. It's going to be very important that you are able to organize numbers from least to greatest in this section. And it's also going to be very important that you don't miss numbers as you write them down. So again, I have 6 numbers in my final list, and I had 6 numbers to start with. So always double check that you have that. Okay, now I look at my second list here. I have 6 and 25 hundredths. I have 3. I have 2 and 5 tenths, 3 and 5 tenths, 5 and 75 hundredths, and 5. Again, you could add zeros as placeholders. You could put them on a number line and read them from left to right. Or you could also look at them and just look at the whole numbers to start with and compare whole numbers. So if we look at this, the smallest whole number is 2 and 5 tenths, and there's nothing else with 2 as a whole number, so we know that's going to be our smallest. All right, then I have 2 numbers with 3 as the whole number, and 3 is the same thing as 3 and 0 tenths, and 3 and 5 tenths is a little larger than 3, so I'm going to have 3 come next, and then 3 and 5 tenths. I have nothing with 4s, so I have no 4 whole numbers, so I'm going to keep going to 5. I have 2 numbers with 5, one with 5 and 75 hundredths and one with 5. Remember, 5 is the same thing as 5 and 0 hundredths, so 5 is going to be smaller. And then we have 5 and 75 hundredths. And then we have 1 number left, and it has a 6 as a whole number, and that's the biggest, 6 and 25 hundredths, and so there is my list. So that's just another way to go ahead and organize decimals. Now notice as I verbally did it, I did include 0 placeholders as I needed. However, now I have my list from least to greatest.